Hello folks, and welcome back to another video. Today's date is March 8th, 2026, and I'm currently sitting on the NS Columbus District at the Williams Road Railroad Crossing in southern Columbus, just at the mouth of Norfolk Southern's Watkins Yard, in addition to the diamond that crosses I&O's Logan Line. I am currently here today to catch some trains and maybe catch a couple of special interest locomotives that popped up on my radar the previous day, so it's nice to be back, and let's see what we get. As alluded to in the intro, it's been quite some time since I was last here, but I'm glad that I'm back. The primary reason coming all the way down here to southern Columbus was the fact that a BNSF FakeBonnet and a Canadian Pacific Heritage unit were on my radar today. The first train to pass Watkins Yard and cross the Indiana and Ohio's Logan Line in the process was Norfolk Southern Empty Grain Train 41N on its as-needed journey out of Norfolk, Virginia, back for the grain elevators in Fostoria, Ohio. This was initially going to be just a simple visit to catch one train, but it turned into something much bigger than that as the day progressed. Deciding to take the next shot from inside my car, mere miles away from finishing its daily journey between Chicago, Illinois and Columbus, Ohio, was NS Intermodal Train 270. A little while later, another southbound intermodal train would grace the Columbus District, that being the regular NS Intermodal 28N on its daily journey between Chicago, Illinois and Charlotte, North Carolina. As 28N was making its approach on Watkins Yard, a northbound would also be making its approach on Watkins Yard, but stop just short of the Indiana and Ohio's Logan line. Once 28N was in the clear and the dispatcher lined the crossovers behind me, this mystery northbound would be turned loose. I didn't get the symbol for this mystery northbound mixed freight train, but I have reason to believe it's 19M on its daily journey between Crewe, Virginia and Bellevue, Ohio with its mixed freight commerce. I was trying to break the trend of backlit shots at this point, but that would be unsuccessful when an Indiana and Ohio train would appear on the Logan line. I have no idea what kind of symbols the Indiana and Ohio Railway uses for their trains, but this is a local that's bound for CSX's Parsons Yard, which is only a couple of miles away. Even though this local wasn't all that much in the grand scheme of things, this was a nice catch for me, as this was the first time I saw the I&O in action. Relying on a local providing a nice break from the Horsehead Railroad, Norfolk Southern would get back onto the action when not one, but two trains showed up on the Columbus District. Utilizing the crossover switches was the southbound counterpart to the 41N seen earlier, and as Grain Train 40N also on an as-needed journey out of the grain elevators in Fostoria, Ohio for Norfolk, Virginia. After the crossovers were once again clear, the northbound was then turned loose. I unfortunately didn't get the symbol of this train either, but I have reason to believe it's 119 on its daily journey between Linwood, North Carolina and Bellevue, Ohio with its mixed freight commerce. the INO local from earlier? Well, here it is again, this time heading southbound down the Logan line across the Columbus district, with cars from Parsons Yard to bring back to their home base in presumably Lancaster or Logan, and I, for the most part, would get a better shot. After nearly getting jump scared, another southbound would pass Watkins Yard, that being a very short NS-18M, on its daily journey between Bellevue, Ohio and Crewe, Virginia, basically being the southbound counterpart to the 19M we saw earlier. And at this point you might be thinking to yourself, what happened to the goals with the special trains, All Ohio? Well, one of them just so happened to be following this 18M through Columbus today, and we'll see that here in a little bit. A little while later, I would move to the other side of the crossing when I noticed an intermodal train entering Watkins Yard. I sadly wasn't able to get the symbol for this train either, but I have reason to believe it's 138, a daily Sharonville, Ohio to Portsmouth, Ohio mixed freight train, along with low priority double stacks. As it would turn out, the decision to move to the other side of the crossing on this unexpectedly long trip proved to be my saving grace, as 138 would stop on the diamonds as he prepared to work Watkins' yard, and the train of the day was not too far behind the 138. The train of the day for Columbus area rail fans today was NS6W4, or 64W, an as-needed loaded ethanol train that comes off of various interchanges in Chicago, Illinois, for Selma, North Carolina, this one in particular coming off of the CPKC Railway. In charge of the 6W4 today was Canadian Pacific SD70 ACU 7019, wearing its special maroon with block letter heritage paint scheme seen on early Canadian Pacific locomotives between 1949 and 1959. In addition to the Canadian Pacific Heritage Unit in charge of the 6W4 today as the little cherry on top, a Kansas City Southern Day Mexico SD70 Ace would be bringing up the rear of 6W4 as the DPU. Alrighty folks, that'll just about do it for today's video. This intermodal train's currently working the yard, but we are not going to stay for that. If you enjoy my content, consider leaving a like and a comment down below to share your thoughts, and if you really like my content, consider subscribing to my channel and tapping the notifications bell to be notified when a new video gets posted on the channel just like this. Until next time, this is All Ohio Rail Fan, signing off.